Hey everyone, Alex the Oilers fan here, and welcome back to another episode of OFR, also known as Oilers Fan Reaction. Now, before I get into today's video, I kind of want to explain where I've been over the past couple months. I've actually had a few videos lined up that I've actually been shooting and topics I've been discussing. I graded Ken Holland's off season. I did a season preview. I talked about a few preseason games, but just because I'm doing two jobs and life things happen, I haven't been able to upload them. Um, yeah, so my video uploads are going to try to remain a week-to-week basis because the regular season has started. It is now Monday, October 7th, and the regular season is well underway. The Oilers are 2-0. They have 2 wins under the belt, so basically what I'm going to do is at the end of every week, I'm going to do a week recap of every Oilers game that happened during that week. So week 1 finished yesterday, so today I'm going to be doing a week recap of the first 2 games that the Oilers played. They are in New York tomorrow to take on the Islanders before they go to New Jersey, and then I believe the Rangers are on a 4-game road trip. I know that, and it's coming out east, so getting an eerily easterly road swing going. But before I talk about the 3-2 win over the Vancouver Canucks and the 6-5 win over the LA Kings, I wanted to give a shout out to my buddies Jeremy and Justin from my job. I was talking with them today, and I was telling them about this, and I was talking about how uploads are becoming hard because I don't really know how to do this thing, and they encouraged me to keep on doing it. So shout out to those two gentlemen. They are some of the best guys I could have asked for. So that being said, let's talk about the game or games. So starting with the 3-2 win over the Vancouver Canucks. Well, it was a good game. I don't know what else to say. Mike Smith got the start, so it was very nice to see him play for the first time in a while. And I gotta say, being a guy who hasn't seen Mike Smith play a lot, but has heard about his puck moving ability, I am definitely going to say that his puck skills are one of the best in the league. I understand it. He learned from Marty Turco. And, there are times, as I will discuss with the LA game, where his puck handling is a detriment and not an asset. But for the most part, he was handling the puck out there like he was a defenseman. It was great to see him make those cool plays where the puck gets dumped in and he's already behind the net sending passes up. He made a couple of good stretch passes. I think he made one in the preseason, which really kind of made me excited, and he just provided solid goaltending for us. And that's something that we're going to need this season if we're going to make the playoffs. For the past couple of years, we haven't had solid goaltending from either Cam Talbot, Mikko Koskinen, or Laurent Brossoit. And we need a steady goaltender. And the last time we really got steady goaltending was in the 16-17 season when we made the playoffs. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that Cam Talbot was a workhorse. He played, I believe, in 73 games that season. He won 42 games. He set a franchise record. He really should have been a top 3 for the Vezina, but he just wasn't. He was, I think, 4th. But we haven't had solid goaltending since that season, and when you have solid goaltending, it allows your team to feel confident in making mistakes because you've got a guy back there who can handle the puck and make that save. And we saw that on Wednesday when he stopped, I believe it was Bo Horvat on a breakaway. He just, Mike Smith just outweighted Bo and made a great save on the breakaway. So, Mike Smith had a great first game and he made a great first impression. Another player who made a great first impression, Leon Draisaitl. And Leon Draisaitl, I feel, is one of the most underrated players in the league simply because a lot of people dismiss him as just another guy who plays with Connor McDavid, and therefore he's irrelevant. I hate this argument. I really hate it when people make the argument, just because he plays with Connor McDavid means that we shouldn't acknowledge his greatness. That's like saying that Yari Curry wasn't a good player, was only made good because of Wayne Gretzky, or Mark Messier was only made good because of Wayne Gretzky. That's like saying Nicholas Backstrom was only made good because of Alex Ovechkin, or Jonathan Toews was only made good because of Patrick Kane, or Evgeny Malkin was only made good because of Sidney Crosby. It's just simply not true. And Leon Draisaitl is very underrated. He's one of the best passers in the game. He's has a great shot. The guy just scored 50 goals last season. And I know people are going to go, well, he was playing with McDavid. No shit, right? But at the same time, Edmonton can't really afford to play them on separate lines. But what I like about what they did in the Vancouver game is they did. When they started the game, Connor McDavid was centering, I believe it was Joakim Nygaard and James Neal. Leon Draisaitl was between Zach Kassian and I forget who the winger was, the left winger, or was it? It wasn't Yurcho, because Yurcho was still undergoing surgery or his procedure. He did get into the game on Saturday, but he wasn't playing on Wednesday. Anyway, McDavid, Nugent Hopkins, and Leon Draisaitl were all on separate lines to start the game, and that's what I like, and I feel like that's what we need to do to succeed. The Oilers are playing Draisaitl $8.5 million to center his own line, but because our winger depth is so thin, we have no choice. But what I like about Dave Tippett is that he recognized that eventually you are going to have to play them on separate lines. So he initially has McDavid, Draisaitl, and Nuge playing on separate lines, and then when the situation called for it, he put McDavid, Kassian, and Draisaitl on one line, and that is the result. That resulted in us winning the game because the goal scorers in that 3-2 win in Vancouver: Leon Draisaitl, Zach Kassian, Connor McDavid. Right, and people are going to go, and I know some of other hockey fans who might be watching are going, well, okay, that doesn't sound a lot different from last year. And yes, on paper, it doesn't seem different. You have three guys who played on one line to end last season, scoring, and the Oilers winning the game. But everyone else was contributing in some way, shape, or form. And they looked good. The only big downside to Game 1, we lost Adam Larson for 6 to 8 weeks. And I feel really bad for Adam because this is a guy who was dealt, who we had to give up Taylor Hall for. And I feel like he is unfairly treated badly because of that fact. Add in the fact that he was injured after the playoff year. His dad died. After the playoff year, Adam Larson has missed a lot of playing time because of things that are out of his control. And a lot of people don't like him simply because he's the guy we had to give up Taylor Hall to get. And I think he gets a lot of unnecessary hate. And now he's injured again. Thank God we have a bit of depth in the defensive system now, and that's something I'm always going to praise Chiarelli for. He absolutely built up our defensive, our prospect pool. And we've called up a few defensemen, and we've got Bear up here now. We called up, I think we called up William Lagesson, Evan Bouchard. There was a paper transaction to get sent, or I think Bouchard's still up here. I'll have to double check that. I'm pretty sure Evan Bouchard's still up here. I believe William Lagesson got back down. Anyway, the point is, we have depth on the defense that we can call people up. Joel Parison got put into the lineup, and he looked good. Game 1, I think the team looked really well, and it was a game where you saw the system that Tippett has put in place being implemented. There is still work to do, and again, it's only the first game of the season. We're still in the first week. There is a lot of hockey still to play. There's still a lot of things to figure out. But that first game, I liked a lot what I saw. Game 2, on Saturday night versus the LA Kings, I really enjoyed this game. The Oilers won 6-5. They initially led 1-0. They gave up 2 quick ones, which I will get into. And, every time they trailed, because they trailed 2-1, 3-2, 4-3, and 5-4. And then they led 6-5. Every time they trailed, they were able to answer or get a goal back. And it wasn't. And what I liked about this win was that it wasn't McDavid, Draisaitl, Kassian that were the reason we won. Although McDavid and Cassian scored goals, they weren't the reason we won. We got scoring from James Neal ×2. We got scoring from Joaquin Nygaard, who scored his first NHL goal. Darnell Nurse got in on it. David Cassian, Nurse, Joaquin, 5 different players scored in that game to get us a win. 2 of them are on our first line. 2 goals came from a guy who struggled last year, and a lot of people are rooting for a bounce back, especially since we kind of wanted him last year. One of them is from a European signing who scored his first NHL, and another guy is from a defenseman who's playing in a contract year. We got depth scoring, right? Now let's talk about the downside. So, as I mentioned with the Vancouver win, I liked Mike Smith's puck handling ability, but as I said, there's a risk reward with that, with that puck moving ability. I play goalie myself, so when a goalie plays the position or does something stupid, I really get a little extra pissed off, because I realize, I've been in some of those situations, and sometimes it's just easier to stay in your crease. So let's talk about the 2 goals that Mike Smith gave up as a result of him playing a puck. So let's talk about the first one. So the first one, basically what happens, the Kings cleared out of their zone, and it's just a simple little floater, and it's not going fast. It is slowing down. It is a slow shot. So Mike Smith makes the decision to come out and play the puck. Now, here's the good news. He gets to the puck. Sometimes when a goalie makes that decision, there's always a chance that you're not going to get the puck. And if you don't get the puck, you're screwed, right? I've always said to myself, and any advice I give young goalies who may have asked me questions, my advice is, if you are unsure, don't do it. You have to absolutely be certain whenever you do things, because I've given up bad goals myself. I remember a few months ago, must have been 2 months ago now, I was playing ball hockey with my buddies. We were playing in a league, and it was a playoff game. I was the backup, but our main goalie couldn't make it, and I was the starter, and I was not good that night. We lost, I believe 8-3 was the final score, and one of the goals I let in, it was a simple dump in from the opposing team's blue line. Now, one of the players on my team did say that it did hit his stick and change direction on me, but when I saw this puck coming in, I thought it was moving slow enough that I could get it. So what I did is I just tried to use the paddle of my stick to try and deflect it into the corner. I ended up deflecting it into the back of my own net. As a goalie, you have to be absolutely sure that what you're doing is not going to result in a goal. That's why whenever a puck is dumped into my zone, I'm making sure that no one is around me. If it's on the power play, I am absolutely going to go behind my net, pick up that puck, and send it out to one of my defensemen or my forwards who come back into my zone. But if it's a dump in and there's players bearing down, I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying inside my crease, because I realize that if I get caught out there, and again, this is ball hockey, so I am not on skates. I'm not on skates, and I don't have rollerblades, so I have to walk or run, and I have no ability to kind of quickly get back and forth. So if I'm caught out there, I'm caught. There is no way for me to get back into that net in a short amount of time. So Mike Smith's playing ability of the puck, it is a skill to admire, but it is also something to be afraid of, because mistakes will be made, and that was one of those things. So anyway, he got the puck, he tried to clear it, it was picked off by Anze Kopitar, and he sends it over to Dustin Brown, and Dustin Brown's got a wide open net, and he's not going to miss that. The second one that happened, Mike Smith goes behind the net to take the puck, and this one I don't really blame on him, because his stick was actually slashed by the Kings player that went in there. I forget who, I think it was... I don't remember who went in, but the Kings player, I do remember, slashed Mike Smith's stick, which freed the puck up for him to get and send out front to Trevor Lewis, who had a wide open net. Because I looked at the replay and I saw the stick being slashed, or I saw Smith's stick slashed, because when he gets to the crease, he actually looks at the blade. He actually goes like this, and he's looking at the blade to make sure it's not broken. So his stick got slashed. So that one I don't really pin on him. I just pin it on a good forecheck. But it was one of those things where you scouted out the goalie, and you were able to, and this is the thing, right? And let's not forget, LA's coach is Todd McClellan. Todd McClellan coached us from 2015 till the first bit of last year. And he knows that a lot of the defensemen on Edmonton, Clefbaum, Benning, Russell, Nurse, he knows that they are still young defensemen, and you can pressure them and they'll make mistakes. And that's what he probably told the LA King players. He said Mike Smith is in the net, so he's going to go out to play it, and if he doesn't go out to play it, you can pressure the young defensemen. I give credit to Todd McClellan. He made the LA Kings have a good forecheck in Edmonton zone, which pressured Mike Smith into making mistakes and pressured the young defense into making mistakes. But again, what I liked about that game was the fact that that was a game that we wouldn't have been able to win 2 years ago, or even last year. You're leading by 1, right? McDavid gets a nice bounce off of Oliver Roy's skate, and the Kings come back and they score 2 quick goals off of bad plays and bad turnovers. That would have deflated them, and they would have stopped skating, they would have stopped being aggressive, and they would have just said, you know what, guys, let's just play the rest of the game, let's get it over with, and let's move on to the next one. But these guys, they're resilient. You know, they come back, they keep playing. James Neal gets his 2 goals. And what I liked about James Neal was that it took 43 games for Milan Lucic to get 2 power play goals last year. James Neal's got 2 in 2 games. So, and if you guys have watched my videos before, you know I've always been a fan of that trade. I like Milan. I liked what he brought to Edmonton, but I like James Neal because he is a goal scorer, and he scored 2 goals. I suppose I want to talk about the Joakim Nygard goal. That one was actually pretty cool. I like that. In the interview that happened after the game, Gaetan Haas, who was also brought in from Europe, he basically said, it's 4-on-4, let's show him a little European showtime. I think that's what the quote was, because it was a 4-on-4 play. And what I like about this is that Gaetan Haas intentionally lost the face-off, and that's what I like about this. If you looked at it regular speed, it looks like he didn't even try to, it looks like he didn't even try to win because he knew he would lose it anyway. And keeping in mind, he's going against Jeff Carter, and Jeff Carter is a pretty good face-off guy, if I remember correctly. So he intentionally loses the face-off. And what I like about it is as soon as Carter pulls the puck back, Haas is already skating forward. So Carter thinks he's won the face-off, when in reality, Gaetan Haas has already been going, I want you to win this face-off, because as soon as you pull it back, I'm skating forward. Sure enough, he wins the puck battle, sends it out front, and Joakim Nygard just goes, boink, and it's in the back of the net. And Joakim Nygard gets his first NHL goal. Gaetan Haas gets his first NHL point. And I remember when the signings were announced, I remember looking at some videos of these two, and they are good players. And Ken Holland, I've always been, as I said, credit where credit is due. This is a guy who knows what he's doing. He's been in this league for a long time. He's a smart GM, and he will do things that he thinks are best. And right now, Haas and Nygard have looked extremely well. Again, it's only 2 games in. I'm not going to start saying they're the second coming of Patrick Maroon or Drake Caggiula or any depth player who was contributing to the playoff season, but those 2 have looked good. Another thing I liked about that game again was the power play, and the power play for me has always been an interesting issue because in 16-17 we had the 5th best power play in the league, and that was that was a power play that struggled a lot early on until one change was made, I think in November, and then the Oilers power play just was one of the best in the league. Actually, if I remember correctly, from January of 2016 till the playoffs began. So basically, from January 2016 all the way till the end of the regular season, the Oilers had the second best power play in the league behind Buffalo. In 17-18, the power play stunk. They tried to do the same units, they tried to make the same plays, but teams learn and they adapt. And Edmonton's power play sucked. Last year it went up. It was pretty decent. But the biggest problem I have with the power play it has always been a problem for me over the past 2 years, or not 2 years, over the past few years. They're still trying to be a little bit fancy. Look at the goals that James Neal scored. These are not snipes, top cheese. These are not trying to beat the goalie high glove, high blocker, low glove, low blocker. Well, actually, for me, it's low glove, low blocker. He's not trying to deke the goalie. These are goals where a shot is taken, the goalie makes the initial save, and the puck is just sitting there to be batted in by someone. James Neal did on the 2 power plays he scored what Milan Lucic did in 16-17, which was you stay at the front of the net, you wait for the shot to be taken, and you clean up the garbage. That's what we call a garbage goal for those of you who don't know hockey lingo. A garbage goal is one where you are in the greasy areas. You're in the crease, you're in the goalie's face, and as soon as the shot is taken, you see your puck lying there, you grab it and you wire it into the net, or you shovel it in, or whatever. That is a garbage goal. And James Neal got his 2 goals not by sniping, not by trying a fancy shot that's going to go wide or hit the netting or hit the boards and go careening out. No, he did it by standing in front of the goalie, waiting for a shot to be taken. He's seeing the puck lying there, and he goes, and it goes on the net. Another thing I liked about the game, about the first week, I suppose, is, again, depth scoring, right? The Oilers are extremely top-heavy. They are the literal definition of a top-heavy team. If you're in the past couple of seasons, even I would say even a few games during the 16-17 playoff year, if the top line is shut down, the Oilers would rarely win the game. There were a few examples of this in 16-17, but for the most part, the bottom 6 would help out. And I remember a game against the Coyotes, ironically, when Mike Smith was still there. The top 2 lines just absolutely got rocked by Arizona. And this was, I think, back when Dave Tippett was still coaching. The top 2 lines just absolutely got shut down by the Arizona Coyotes. So the bottom 6 guys had to be the ones to score the goals. Cassian, Hendricks, Letestu were getting the goals. I think Adam Larson got one, I think. Especially in 17-18 and 18-19, if the top line got shut down by Edmonton, they were rarely going to win the hockey game. This year, again, like I said, it's only 2 games, and the top line hasn't gotten shut down yet, but the depth guys are contributing. And what I like about it is that, in my mind, when you're contributing, you don't have to contribute on the score sheet. You just have to play smart. The penalty kill was important. The penalty kill has been greatly improved. The penalty kill has always been a struggle for Edmonton over the past few years, especially during the 16-17 playoff season. The penalty kill just sucks. And I remember, I think the funniest example of how bad the penalty kill was during 17-18, when the Oilers had the worst home penalty kill in NHL history. They actually set the record for the worst home penalty kill in NHL history. But on the road, they were penalty killing gods, and we couldn't figure out why that was. And I still can't figure it out why. How do you have the best penalty kill on the road, but when you're at home, you suck? They improved it slightly last year, but it was still not good enough. This year, I like how the penalty kill looks. It looks good. But there are a few minor complaints that I have. Some of the guys like Colby Cave and Josh Archibald, they've had a couple of problems in the first two games. Josh Archibald, especially in game one, had a tough sequence that led to Vancouver's second goal of the game. And then last game, Colby Cave had a problem that led to, I believe, the Kings' fourth goal of the game. It was just those two have struggled a bit early on. The good news is that Riley Shahan is coming back from his concussion protocol. I think he is expected to play tomorrow in New York, so I believe Colby Cave is going to be coming out. And then Mikko Koskinen is expected to play at one point during the road trip, and we need to get him going because, unfortunately, his contract kind of demands that you play him more. And I think that's one of the things that I like about the regime of Tippett and Holland. They have no loyalty towards him. If Peter Chiarelli was still around, he'd probably be telling the coach, play Koskinen more, play Koskinen more. I got to justify that contract. But what I like about man, I've been doing this for a while. What I like about Holland and Tippett is they have no loyalty to him. They are giving it to the goalie who has earned it. And right now, Mike Smith has earned it. Even with Saturday's game, he earned it in preseason. He outplayed Koskinen. Hell, Shane Starrett outplayed Mikko Koskinen. Stuart Skinner outplayed Mikko Koskinen. Dylan Wells outplayed Mikko Koskinen. So, Koskinen is expected to get a start on the road. I don't know when that will be. I suspect it won't be tomorrow because I believe Mike Smith is playing. And one more note I wanted to talk about as a positive, the team actually looks a bit faster. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the system in place or what have you, but the bottom six definitely does look faster. I like how the team is able to break the puck out of their zone, get into the offensive zone. So, yeah, I got to wrap this up because I'm already going on 26 or 27 minutes. So, yeah, so all in all, we're 2-0. I'm very happy with how things have looked so far. More positives than negatives, which is good. Obviously, we're not going to be undefeated during the season. I suspect we're probably going to pick up at least, I expect 4 to 6 points on this road trip. It is a 4-game road trip. I expect them to win 2 or 3 out of the 4 on the road. And actually, that's something I should look ahead to. So, coming this week, we have a 4-game road trip going through the Metropolitan Division. We play the Rangers, Islanders, and the Devils. I forget who we play as the 4th team, but I will be recapping that at the end of this week. I know we play the Rangers on Saturday in a matinee. I know we play the Islanders tomorrow, which probably means on Thursday we play the New Jersey Devils. I believe we're also playing the Buffalo Sabres on Monday. I will have to double check that, but on Sunday of this week, so that is Sunday the 13th. I will do a recap of the games that happened this week, and I will preview the next week. So thank you guys for watching. Click like if you guys like the video. Click subscribe if you guys are new. Tell all your friends, and I'll see you guys on Sunday. Bye-bye.